Welcome everyone to the Wii Sports series Iceberg. This video is going to be super fun. Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort are simple but incredibly awesome games that are cherished by a lot of us, and I'm just super excited to bring you this video. I want to quickly thank the creator of this iceberg, u/free Wii you need, for making this iceberg, and I'll link his post in the description. I also want to quickly ask that at any point during this video, if you find yourself having fun, send your thanks by liking the video or hitting the subscribe button. With that said, let's get right into layer 1 of the Wii Sports series Iceberg. Throwing the bowling ball backwards is something we've all done at least once in Wii Sports Bowling. If for some reason you haven't seen this, check out this iconic clip that plays when you throw the ball behind you. Special bowling mode, you can find the secret strike by rolling the ball on the rails just perfectly. Check out what this looks like right here.
Nice throw!
By reaching pro status in each event, you can unlock a cool little reward to use in each sport. Here's what they are if you missed out back in the day. A silver tennis racket, silver boxing gloves, a bigger crowd in the boxing stadium or tennis court, and a diamond bowling ball. Wii Sports Club is an enhanced version of Wii Sports released in 2013 on the Wii U, with some additional content like online play. I have no idea why, but I was completely unaware that this existed. One fun little feature from the game was that you could put the Wii U gamepad on the ground to look at the golf ball while you swung. Besides that, there really weren't any gameplay changes. Matt. Matt is an iconic Mii from Wii Sports, Wii Sports Resort, and Wii Party. He's most notable for being the boxing champion, and he also runs the boxing training gym at Wii Sports as well. Fun fact about Matt, he's one of only 3 left-handed Miis in Wii Sports. For whatever reason, Mii bodies are very inconsistent. They change depending on what sport you're playing and even what you're doing within that sport. In some games, like tennis and bowling, you have both hands and legs, but when it comes to baseball, for whatever reason, you have legs when you bat, but not when you're fielding. And not just that, but somehow once you hit the ball and run for base, your legs disappear. The only time you have legs is when you're not running? Nintendo, that makes literally 0 sense. I love it. Now we move on to level 2 with the NES Golf reference. So, fun fact, the holes in Wii Sports Golf have actually been ripped from the original NES Golf. You could see here from this top-down view that the maps are nearly identical in shape. Pretty cool. The Wii Sports and Resort 2-in-1 edition was a release of Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort that had both games on one disc. It's not exceptionally rare, but it was released as part of a black Wii bundle and is never available for resale, so it is decently hard to find, and it's less common than the regular editions. Kokeshi dolls are a Japanese toy that have been credited as the inspiration for Miis. You can definitely see the similarities a bit. So, Matt actually has a pretty rich boxing history that you might not know about. When exploring the boxing training, you can find pictures and trophies from Matt's boxing career. This is a super cool entry that you can see more about if you check out the Boundary Break video on Wii Sports, which I highly recommend. Now remember that the Wii was 480p, so in regular gameplay, you would have a really hard time spotting this. Switch Sports and Switch Sports Resort are something people have wanted to arrive in some form to the Nintendo Switch for as long as the console has been getting retro games. Unfortunately though, this isn't likely to come anytime soon. People have speculated that the difficulty it would take to make the controls work, amongst other things, would stop Nintendo from actually going through with this project. Wuhu Island evolution. As you can see from these different shots, Wuhu Island has become more and more detailed over the years. Wuhu Island first appeared in Wii Fit, where it was called the Wii Fit Island. In this original version, many known landmarks were missing, such as the Summerstone Castle and the mysterious ruins. Since that first appearance, it's stayed relatively similar, appearing in other games such as Pilot Wings, Mario Kart 7, and Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U and 3DS. Each of these games brings some little change, so it's pretty cool to see the island evolve over time. At E3 2006, where Wii Sports was first shown off, the game mode Airplane was present, intended to be part of the original Wii Sports. Nintendo did decide to take this game out, but they later packaged it with Wii Sports Resort. This demo is still pretty interesting as it shows a very early version of Wuhu Island. Updated Wiimote graphics. So for any of you who don't know, there are actually two separate versions of Wii Sports, one from 2006 and a more common edition from 2007. While the games are essentially the same, a notable difference between the two is that in the second edition, graphics with the Wiimote were updated to include the Wiimote jacket, probably to address the many issues people had with flinging Wiimotes all over the place. Oh. As you fly into Wuhu Island, you'll pass under a rock arch, and if you do so in the evening, you'll be greeted by this message, saying that the arch is like a gateway into another world. Could this mean that the arch is some sort of portal? So this beautiful clip comes from the German version of the game. I'll go ahead and just play it.
Hole-in-one!
Now, to explain, in the German language, this means ace, or hole-in-one, but it's a pretty funny thing to watch. At one time, Sports Pack for Revolution was a working title for Wii Sports, and is also what the game is referred to internally. For those of you who don't know, Revolution was the codename for the Wii, which is where this designation comes from. Golf's inclusion in Wii Sports Resort actually was an accident. This entry references an Iwata Asks interview with Shigeru Miyamoto and Takayaki Shimamura. When asked why golf was included in the game, the two laughed, and Shimamura stated that Miyamoto had said in a different interview at E3 that as opposed to the original Wii Sports, golf shots in Wii Sports Resort would be determined by the backswing. At the time, though, this game mode didn't even exist. So the moment Miyamoto got back from E3, he announced that they would have to put golf in the new game. Maybe he wanted to do this all along, but in reality, this wasn't planned whatsoever until the very last minute. It's funny how one little interview mistake made golf in Wii Sports a reality. You can actually find Summerstone Castle in the original Wii Sports. To get a closer look at this entry, we're going to reference the Boundary Break video again. In this video, you can see that on hole 5 of the golf game mode, there's actually Summerstone Castle in the distance. This would be really difficult to notice in normal gameplay, but you could see it here in detail. This entry refers to an unused golf course lurking in the files. Not much is known about this specific one, though judging by the terrain shown, it was probably used as a test room for ball physics. There are other interesting golf courses left behind in the game files, such as this one which could have potentially been a driving range, or this one which appears to be an unfinished remake of Hole 18 from the original NES Golf. Finally, you can even find the hole shown off at the E3 demo, which, oddly enough, has been updated with newer textures since being shown at E3, but still wasn't implemented until the final cut of the game. There have been a few different instances of Wii Fit as well as Wii Sports being used to rehabilitate patients with different health conditions. Here's an interesting paper that shows how Wii Sports was used as a pilot program to help sick stroke survivors get back into physical activity. Specifically, these subjects played tennis and boxing, and the study concluded that by using this game they were able to undergo enough exercise to maintain and improve their health. Very fascinating. Easter egg misinformation. So if you go to IGN's guide for Wii Sports Resort, there are two entries that stand out from the rest: the basket bike unlockable and the moon phases Easter egg. Let's read the first one. It reads, once you've attained pro status in cycling, you can hold down 1 when choosing your Mii to use a basket bike. The basket bike either has a picture of a pizza or some flowers on it depending on your Mii's gender. Go ahead and try this for yourself. No, actually don't. You'll be very disappointed because this is a complete lie. This isn't in the game, and it's really puzzling because there's such a detailed explanation of how to get it. The article goes on to state that moon phases in Wii Sport change to mirror moon cycles from real life, which is also bogus. The moon in the game is completely unchanged regardless of when or for how long you play the game. You can occasionally experience a glitch called the Mii Doppelganger glitch in Wii Sports Resort, where you'll see the same Mii that you're playing as watching you during playing time. This probably just has to do with random Miis showing up in the background, in all honesty. Ancient Mii civilization history. Buckle up, guys, this is a long one. If you've spent time exploring Wuhu Island, you're probably aware that the ruins on the island imply the existence of an ancient, lost civilization that once inhabited the island. But what you might not be aware of is just how much of this ancient civilization's history we can put together from information in the game, mostly coming from eye points and also some outside speculation. To get right into this, I want to turn your attention to 3 points of interest in the game: the mysterious ruins, the mountain monument, and Summerstone Castle. Each of these locations provide interesting information about different Mii civilizations or time periods that I'll get into now. The mysterious ruins, while ancient, were built by a group of people with incredibly advanced masonry skills. Not only that, but they have items inside such as coins and traps, showing that they had both an economy and the ability to create complex machines, like booby traps in this case. It's clear that whatever civilization built this monument was very advanced. Now let's take a look at the mountain monument. These obelisks aren't natural, as hinted at by the eye point, and it would have taken a considerable amount of effort to put these up here, though they're a lot more crude compared to the mysterious ruins on the other side of the island. The Wii Sports Resort wiki speculates that based on the different construction techniques, there were actually 2 separate civilizations on Wuhu Island during ancient times, and that they may have actually gone to battle over the island. With that in mind, let's finally look at the Summerstone Castle. It's obviously more modern than the ancient ruins, but it doesn't fit in with the contemporary architecture of the Miis. Could this have been built by the Miis when they first colonized the island, or was it built by one of the civilizations, which I'll now be referring to as native Wuhu? Now, I chose the word colonize very intentionally because I believe the Miis came to the island from a different place, at a time once the other civilizations had already disappeared, since the Miis don't fully understand the mysterious ruins. These civilizations were never in contact with one another. But when and how did this ancient civilization die out? Well, potentially Summerstone Castle could be the key to understanding this mystery. It had to have either been built by the native Wuhus or the Miis when they first came to the island. Now, I don't believe the Miis built it because it doesn't fit in with their architecture, and even if it was older than the rest of the buildings, why aren't there other medieval-looking structures throughout the island? So let's say the native Wuhus built this castle. Could it have meant that there was some sort of monarchy or a feudalistic system in place? Could this have contributed to infighting, which, on a small, lightly populated island, could have led to an extinction? Could a peasant uprising have led to enough chaos that the native Wuhus lost their grip on the island and died out? We won't have any way to answer this until the game takes us back to Wuhu Island one more time, where we might get more information, but until then, I really look forward to hearing your theories in the comments below. This file name refers to some unused textures found in the files for the game. This texture in particular is a Mii with the Japanese character for temporary displayed on her head instead of a normal face. As you can probably gather, this was a placeholder texture used for testing. Eerie cave singing. It's clear that Nintendo gave the Serpent Cave some mysterious vibes, which are possibly tied up to the greater religious themes of Wuhu Island locations that I'll elaborate on in further detail in the next entry. But in the Serpent Cave specifically, a unique tune will play that some people have thought sounds like voices singing, and at this point, the singing is mentioned as well. I have one question though. Are people singing, or is this the fabled serpent lurking below? Religiously significant eye points. So there are a couple of eye points that bring up information with religious themes relating to the ancient civilization. The eye point located at the mountain monument at night, for example, will read, "Legends say that this monument will right itself one day." With our limited knowledge of the ancient Wuhus, how would we know of their legends to put in the eye points? Are there written accounts of their ancient religion hidden somewhere in the ruins that we don't see in the game? Furthermore, could the eerie cave singing have influenced any of these legends or religious themes? What about the serpent? Aliens in Duckling Lake. In Wii Fit U and Pilot Wings Resort, there are UFOs that you can find during minigames. Now, these are quite interesting for a few reasons. Your me, and everyone else on Wuhu Island for that matter, seems particularly unbothered by the UFOs, almost as if they're a common sight on the island. Also, could the creatures in this aircraft have anything to do with the ancient civilization somehow? Nintendo could be hinting at some sort of involvement from the aliens helping build the ancient structures, like many conspiracies about aliens and the pyramids. Maybe the ancient civilization built these monuments, then after alien visitation they learned how to create more complex ones? There's no explanation for this, though these UFOs can certainly be incorporated into our theories about life on Wuhu Island. The Wuhu volcano is the principal geographic feature of Wuhu Island. Towering over all else, it's clear that if this were to erupt, the consequences would be disastrous. We learned from the game that the last time it erupted was 200 years ago, but it must have been a relatively small eruption since it didn't destroy the ruins on the island. Is it possible that at some point in the island's history, an eruption caused a massive loss of life, potentially leading to the extinction of multiple species? Or at least a near extinction event? I'm not just talking about ancient Wuhus either. What about the animals on the island? The vast majority of the animals on Wuhu Island are birds, animals that easily could have survived a volcanic eruption or migrated afterwards from other islands. There are domesticated animals like dogs and cats, which were obviously brought to the island, and other tropical animals like fish that could have easily survived an explosion as well. However, there are few mammals on the island besides some coyotes and very few deer. Could the number of mammals have been cut down from the volcanic explosion? The same one that killed off the native inhabitants of Wuhu Island? The answer to this question is tied into the general history of this island, which we still don't fully understand. Half of the mysterious ruins are missing. The final entry on our Iceberg today refers to the fact that many of the mysterious ruins are gone. Whether or not this is due to natural weathering and decay or the aforementioned extinction event is unknown, but perhaps one day we can complete this theory and solve this entry as well. But wait, I have one more piece of information that I want to share with you all today before the video ends, one that might help us more with our civilization theory. An interesting structure that actually isn't even found in Wii Sports Resort but Wii Fit U. During the scuba minigame, you can actually find underwater ruins, similar to those on the mountain monument. Could these have sunk to the ground during a volcanic eruption? What else could have happened that left these structures weathered and buried deep in the sea? I know we don't have much to work with here, but I really want to hear some creative explanations from you guys in the comments. Well, that's it, everyone. As someone who grew up hooked on Wii Sports, this was an awesome video to make and it brought up some really good memories. Thank you for tuning in today, and if you enjoyed the video, I really encourage you to subscribe. This year is going to bring some awesome content from the channel, and I'm really excited to share some upcoming projects with you all, so I hope you'll stick around. That's all for right now, so I'll see you all soon.